Hi, I'm Melanie from Nova Scotia, Canada, and this is Adventures in Groceryland. This is the week 13 meal video of our $21 grocery budget challenge. There are two of us. We each have a $21 budget, and that means our grand total weekly cash budget is $42. But we do not want to be limited to 42. Who wants to be limited to a small budget? So we use every strategy available to us to increase our buying power. We did that this week that just went by. We had some phenomenal groceries, and I was hoping to make a lot more phenomenal meals than what we actually did. Both of us were feeling under the weather, so we ended up eating quite repetitively. Don't worry, we have those supplies still to carry forward into next week. Check out this video and see what we were able to come up with. Heating up the pizza soup that I made yesterday for lunch today. So exciting. It was delicious yesterday, and I expect it is going to be just as delicious today. I'm greedy for the soup today. My bowl is filled almost to overflowing. I am really excited. We are having toasted tomato sandwiches for supper. These tomatoes are gorgeous, big fat tomatoes, but the top has like a little bit of wrinkle on it, so that's no problem. We'll cut that off. The whole rest of it, pristine. We have the homemade bread. We'll toast that, a little bit of butter. The cheese slices are for me. The handsome one thinks this is disgusting because I will eat mine with butter and a cheese slice with the tomatoes, salt and pepper. The handsome one puts mayo on. See, I'm not a mayo eater. So he'll have mayo on his, and he says, there's no way ever that you can put a cheese slice with mayo. He thinks that's horrible. So let's get making some sandwiches. The handsome one had a much later lunch than me, so right now I'm just making mine. Woo! I'm not putting a whole cheese slice on each one. I'm just doing a half. Getting it off the wrapper. Jeez. There. And I've already got salt and pepper. And covering these up. Looks so good. Yummy. This looks so good. Can't wait. And of course, you can't have toasted tomato sandwiches without a pickle if you happen to have pickles, and I do. So, yay. I'm getting things ready for a smoothie, but at the same time, I am saving some of the yogurt in this jar here. This is going to be what cultures the rest, because I want to use the rest of what's in here, which is not much, in the smoothie, and then wash this container really well in the dishwasher, and then reuse this container to make the homemade yogurt. I had initially thought that we were going to use these blueberries for in smoothies. Let's see if I can get this open. But they are so gorgeous. These are in such good shape. I just can't bring myself to use the fresh ones in the smoothie when I know that I have frozen ones now in the frozen fruit blend that I just bought. So I've got the watermelon, the blueberries, banana, yogurt. Let's get some of the juice in. Of course, I'm going to add spinach. It's amazing the difference that a handful of blueberries can make. These were the exact same ingredients except for the blueberries. Last week, they were green as green can be. And now they're kind of like a purpley brown from the blueberries. Again, the juice has made this seem so fresh compared to milk or non-dairy milk. Really delicious. And Greybeard is extremely curious about these smoothies. Supper tonight, I'm going to make the recipe, the very interesting recipe with the rest of the pepperoni. I'm making pepperoni lasagna. I probably haven't made this, honestly, in about 20 years, but there was a point in my life where this was a regular staple in meals that we shared with friends. So they came up with the idea, or they saw the idea on the internet somewhere, and we started making it. And we probably made it at least once a month. It's been a really long time. So this is all from memory. I will say one thing. The one thing that I remember the most about it is that if we didn't use Prego sauce, then we couldn't make pepperoni lasagna. So it was always something special because that is not the kind of pasta sauce that I bought. Back then, it probably was ragu. Like that would have been what went on sale the most regularly in the flyer 20 years ago. But no, you couldn't use that kind of sauce in this recipe. This recipe is particularly called for Prego, and that is what you had to use. So as you can see, I am 100% deviating. I'm going to use this compliments tomato and basil. I'm actually going to get out some of the tomatoes. I've got a few soft cherry tomatoes left, and we had some toasted tomato sandwiches last night for supper, and I've got some end pieces with those, and I'm going to dice all of that up and mix it in with the sauce. No reason we can't use those up with this. So, fun. So this is between a half and a third of the jar of pasta sauce. I've added in some of the spices that I have on hand available to us. One is the medley of spice. I think it's like oregano and it's like an Italian seasoning. The other one is parsley that I dehydrated myself. And of course, this is garlic. We'll get this all stirred in. I did dice up those tomato ends and all of the leftover soft cherry tomatoes. And I've added some water because the one thing that you need to remember when you are cooking a lasagna is it cannot be dry. Definitely can't be dry. It'll wreck your lasagna. I've put a thin layer, so very thin, so that I can lay lasagna noodles on here and they won't stick to the bottom of the pan. I've got the noodles in here, but it made me think when I opened up the package of lasagna noodles, something that continues to come up on my social media feeds is all about buying products of Canada. So I'm a big fan of Primo in general. Primo sauces, Primo beans, legumes, Primo pasta. So here we are. This is a product of Canada. We are Canada for the pepperoni. So my oven just preheated. And although this doesn't have the Dairy Farmers of Canada logo, I am pretty certain, here we go, defined, pretty certain that I read that this is also the President's Choice brand. We're also a product of Canada, even though I can't find anything on here to substantiate that. Very curious. Let me know if you know. If you're in the know, of where this is produced, let me know. I got it in the fine print. See it right there in the middle? Product of Canada. I've got the pepperoni cut really thin, and I'm going to just layer it on top of these noodles. So this is what we got. I'm going to add on another layer of sauce, another layer of noodles, and then the next layer, I'm going to do cheese and spinach, and then the layer on top of that, I'm going to do pepperoni again. All right, so this is the other half of what I had already prepared. So all of the tomatoes, the cut tomatoes, are in the middle layer here and also on the bottom. And the next two will be just the liquid and like the sauce, and I'll probably add a little more water as well. So you see, I'm just starting to add the cottage cheese, and it's directly on top of the noodles. And then directly on top of this, I will add spinach. And then, of course, another layer of noodles. And this doesn't have to be super thick. Like, this can be thin. Almost done. There. Perfect. I'm adding the spinach, I first used up all of the last week's bag of spinach. You can see that it's a bit wilty. That does not matter when you are cooking in a recipe, because guess what? It's going to get wilty from the heat anyways. So I made sure to use that all up first, and then I'll just continue to layer. And I love cooking spinach, like the great big pieces. And we'll just continue to get this all covered up. I gave those noodles a really firm press down to compress everything. Pepperoni on top. We'll do a sauce here. One more layer of noodles, sauce, and into the oven. Okay, it's ready to go in the oven. You can see that I cut a piece of tomato and kind of just wedged it all around the edges. The tomato, of course, will release liquid as it cooks. This looks great. I might just pour just a little bit of water right there on the top. So I did cover this with tin foil. I cooked it for 35 minutes, checked it, cooked it for another 15. I started it on 375 and then upped it to 425. When it came out, then I put the grated cheese on top, folded back over the tin foil, and the cheese melted. We're going to let it cool for a bit, and then we're going to serve. These look so amazing. Look at this. Wow. Pepperoni lasagna. Simple lunch today, toasted tomato sandwiches, and I am only making lunch for me today. The handsome one's just feeling under the weather. He has a bad cold, and he says he's not hungry. So just me for lunch. The handsome one's still not feeling that great, and he didn't want anything big for supper. We're not quite sure what he is going to have yet, but I'm just going to have leftover lasagna. The handsome one had a piece of toast earlier with some peanut butter on it, and now he's going to try some orange slices. He's not feeling very well at all. This is the last of the pizza soup. I am very thankful that I had this pre-prepared today. The colds have really gotten us down. I'm hoping that tomorrow I'll have more different new soup, maybe chicken soup. But for today, pizza soup. For supper tonight, we are going to have chicken dinner. I've got the chicken in the slow cooker. I'm just getting ready to turn it on, and I'm creating lots of broth. I'm actually going to add some more liquid to this. I want as much broth as possible. The handsome one has a cold. I have a cold, but I don't feel as bad as the handsome one. So using the broth to make some chicken soup is definitely on my radar. It's starting to smell real good. You can see it's starting to get boiling in there a little bit around the edges. I'm not lifting the lid. I want to keep all of the heat inside. With the chicken dinner for supper tonight, we are going to have carrot turnip mashed, boiled potatoes, and some kind of frozen veggie. And I'm not making very much. Both the handsome one and I are under the weather. I'm not sure how much we're going to eat. I don't want to have a bunch of leftovers, so we're just doing enough for this meal alone. We've got the carrot and turnip mashed, and we served that on the plate already. Potatoes are appropriately boiled. I'm reusing the carrot and turnip pot, and I'm going to make the gravy in that. I just turned this off. It's boiling hard. So that's good. I'm done with this. That can cool down now. Turkey dinner. Beet pickles and dill pickles for the handsome one. Just dill pickles for me. Look how good that looks. Yum, yummy. Very exciting. Earlier this week, I made a recipe that I haven't made in about 20 years, so why not another one? I did plan for this. I did buy the black beans and the corn for this recipe in particular. I'm not going to make a full batch, so it's 1 jar of salsa, 1 lime, 1 can of sweet corn, some cilantro, which I don't have, and 1 can of black beans. Combine the ingredients, let sit, and serve. I'm actually going to do a half a can of the beans, a half a can of the corn, some of the salsa, the lime. I'm going to combine this together, and then I'm going to freeze the rest of the black beans and the corn for a future recipe. All right, so we've got the corn and the beans. We are going to let this sit in the fridge, and then later tonight we're going to have this as a snack just with nacho chips. This is drippings and like little pieces of chicken from the chicken. I am going to use this, add lots of water, and we are going to make a chicken soup. This is going to be great for us since we both have colds and we are feeling crummy. All right, we've got carrots, onions, dehydrated celery, some spices. I've got parsley and some other random spices. We're going to start with this. There's a little bit of chicken that was in here when I put the drippings in. It'll definitely need more, but I'm just going to cook this for now. The soup looks great. It smells good, what I can smell of it. Cold, I'm really stuffed up. I'm going to serve this up, and I think I'm going to add some fresh spinach into mine, my serving. Here we have chicken soup, and I just topped it with some fresh spinach. Looks good. Supper tonight is lasagna and a garden salad. We have spinach, tomatoes, onions, red pepper, cucumber, and blueberries. Really good. Chicken soup for lunch today. We do have a little bit of homemade bread left, but I don't think either of us are going to have any. I think the soup's probably just enough. Supper tonight is an easy one. Some nights you just don't have the energy to do anything fancy. So thankfully, we still have German-style sausages left. There are still buns here from when I was away for work, and I have to laugh. Like, they're in pristine condition. Not a thing wrong with them. What is in the food that we are eating that these buns that are probably 3 weeks old, not one hint of anything wrong with it. Anyways, that's my little rant for today. I don't even have the energy for a rant about stuff in our food. So I'm just popping these in the oven. I don't even think we're going to make any sides to go with it. I'm making 4 tonight. I can't remember how many we had the first time, but there's still 2 left in the package. So that was a pretty good deal. I got those for $6.50 out of Food Hero. Sizzling. These are done. Let's get them in the buns. I cut up some onions. We have ketchup and mustard. The handsome one thinks he wants some grated cheese. Cut them in half. They'll fit in my buns better. Sausages. These ones are mine. The other ones are the handsome ones. For lunch today, we are having chicken soup with homemade toasted bread and butter, and we're going to split that big apple. And there's just enough soup left for us to have about this exact same size servings for one more day for tomorrow. I'm having my apple in slices with peanut butter. Tonight for supper, I am going to use leftover chicken. These are leftover wraps from 2 weeks ago. We've got some sour cream, onions, peppers, and this is taco seasoning that I got as a gift for Christmas. We are going to use this stuff to make fajitas. We've got everything prepared to start cooking for the fajitas, but at the same time, I took the opportunity to make some fajita prep bags. Turn them over. Look better from this side. I used to do this all the time when the kids were at home. We made fajitas a lot, except I would also include in the chicken breasts that we would use. So I'd buy it in bulk, pre-cut everything. And so on those busy nights, I'd come home and I'd just grab one of these. And sometimes in the morning, before I left for work, I'd just grab one out of the freezer. It'd be thawed and ready to go by the time I came home. So this is a way for us to use up some of the supplies that we already have before they spoil. And I still have some of the fresh peppers left, but we're able to get a lot of these, and these will help us in the future. The handsome one prepped the chicken for me. I told him that there was 2 full breasts left in the container. This is a little more, I think, than what we need for supper, but as this starts to cook down, I'll put at least 3/4 of this in. Well, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I have thrown 2 very generous spoonfuls of the taco seasoning on here. Once this starts to heat up, liquid will be released from the onions and the peppers. The handsome one and I totally disagree on what is needed in a non-stick frying pan. He would have tons of oil or butter in here right now, and I have nothing. Looking really great. I've added the chicken. It's cooking now. Wow, the chicken's already cooked. It's just cooking in with the rest of it. So first we have the fajita mixture on our wraps, and there is quite a bit of mixture left. And now I'm going to top it with, this is what we made earlier this week. It was almost gone. I added just a little bit more salsa to it. So we'll top with that. And we'll add some sour cream. These look amazing. After we purchased the groceries for week 13, we had $1.60 left, and I was saving that in case I wanted to pick up something at the bulk barn, which never actually happened. So I still have $1.60 left to start week 14. The handsome one got gas and got this $2.54 fast fuel coupon. And this one was one that someone left behind, $1.53. So we have that to add into what we are going to be starting week 14 with. We didn't do too bad, did we? For two people that were under the weather. We had a bunch of meals that were brand new to us on the challenge. So we hadn't had toasted tomato sandwiches. They were amazing. I love them. We had pizza lasagna, was really good. And I will tell you, I am so glad that I made that on day 2 and that we had that hanging around for leftovers because we definitely needed the easy meals. The chicken dinner was delicious. The chicken soup was also delicious. The fajitas were delicious. So you think we are eating pretty deliciously on such a minor budget. Thanks so much for tuning in. I hope you guys all have a fantastic weekend. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, I would appreciate it if you would do so. It would help me. I am really hoping that sometime this spring that I am going to hit 5,000 subscribers. So that would be pretty awesome. Thanks so much, everybody. And don't forget to tune in on Monday. It is the last grocery shop of this challenge because we are wrapping it up on Valentine's Day.